Ready. So, America, how much would you pay someone else to shepherd your child through the most critical stage of his or her only life?
We are looking at really the importance of the first 1,000 days of life. The first years last forever, and during those first 3 years of life is when the brain is wiring so that children are going to be able to learn and be successful.
Where this child ends up is completely dependent on what happens in the first 5 years of their life. Completely dependent. Their brain development, their social emotional skills, their ability to do cognitive learning later in life, it all happens in the first 5 years. And yet we invest the least as a country in our kids in the first 5 years of their life.
Quality childcare is undervalued in our nation, and it is critical to good outcomes for children.
There is significant research on how children learn best and what they need at that age in their development. And having a consistent caregiver that they develop a trusting relationship with is absolutely critical to child development.
So, if children truly are our most valuable resource, why don't we pay care providers like pro basketball players?
Connecting them with high quality care is the absolute highest return on an investment that we can get as a country.
Return on investment means parents can focus on work. Return on investment means a nation that can focus on less work.
Quality childcare for parents is really not only important so that parents can think when they're at work and do a good job because they're not worried about what's happening at home with their children. It's really about economic development as well. The research clearly shows that every dollar invested in quality early childhood programming results in vast savings down the road.
Statistics say for every dollar that's invested in early childhood education, you get a return of $7 later. So you're not spending that money on, jail or assistance or, other things that you could spend your money on.
If you have a child that has had 4 or 5 years of really high quality early learning happening, and let's say this is a child in a very poor family, single mom has to work, and that child gets to school, if they've had 5 years of really good childcare, they don't have to repeat a grade. They're ready to go, right? They don't need special education because they've had all of these skill development met. They end up graduating high school. We know if you graduate high school, the likelihood of engaging in crime drops dramatically. So you don't end up incarcerated. They went to college, they pay taxes, they own a home, they become productive citizens. And so the savings is huge. It's absolutely enormous, the amount of money that we would save as a state, as a nation, if we would put our investment into the early years with children.
You have to think about what's important to you and what you want for your child. And I don't want to say make sacrifices, but you have to think of what you want to spend your money on. And so if you spend the money now, you don't have to spend it later. Plus, it's your own child. You're investing in the ones that you love.
Samantha is pulling a double. She's a working parent and a child care teacher. Ouch.
Yes, it's hard, and yes, it cuts it close, but I know and I'm guaranteed from 7:30 in the morning to 5:30 at night, she's well taken care of. She's loved. She's well nourished. She gets rest when she needs it. So yes, it's close and it's tight, but I wouldn't want anything else for my daughter.
But mamas, don't let your daughters grow up to be child care teachers.
Is it a gender issue? Absolutely, it's a gender issue. It's a huge gender issue. The fact that we've gotten away with it for as long as we have in our country, I think is in huge part because of who does the work. So bank tellers used to be all women and were paid horrible wages. All of that changed when you had an influx of men into that industry. Where we see it worst in our country is in early childhood and sort of end of life. And mostly it's women, again. I mean, this is women's work, right?
Raising children is the work of parents and families and neighborhoods. So it's embarrassing that a country that prides itself on freedoms and dreams is passing the buck on doling out bucks for a job this important.
We should be embarrassed We should be embarrassed as a nation that we're willing to balance this on the back of a lot of really wonderful women that are doing the work. This should be work that for women is valued enough that they can make a good living at it. Instead, it's compensated, at the same rate as non-farm animal caretaking, fast food, parking attendants. That's how we value it.
Yeah.
Steve Betchko,
Awesome.
CVC TV.
Cooper, stand up. Last time. Start at 10. Start up high.